Welcome back. I am Vinita Kumar, a transplant nephrologist at University of Alabama in Birmingham, and also the medical director of the Incompatible Solid Organ Transplant Program at UAB. I'm assuming you have already seen part 1 of this video series that discusses how we define a compatible pair. Now let's talk incompatibility. But what if a donor and a recipient are not an ABO or HLA compatible match? Are you done then? No, you're not. We often hear statements from a donor like, "I'm the wrong blood type, I cannot donate," or from a recipient like, "I'm not a tissue or HLA match to my donor, they cannot donate to me." If you're thinking any of these statements, do not despair. There are options. There's hope. Would you like to know more? This is what a traditional transplant would look like. Here, the body of the recipient receiving the kidney readily accepts the organ from their intended donor. However, a person receiving an organ may have proteins already present in their blood. These proteins, called antibodies, can damage the donor cells. Remember, we talked about cells that have proteins on them called antigens. So the cell in blue has the green protein on top of it called antigens. These are present on the cells of the donor. There are similar proteins that can circulate in the blood of the person receiving the organ, and these proteins depicted in red are called antibodies. The antibodies can recognize the donor antigens as foreign and can injure the cells of the donor organ. If a donor and recipient are not the same blood group, or the recipient has antibodies in his or her system that can damage donor cells, then the donor and recipient pair are called incompatible. So if there were proteins against the donor blood type, this would be ABO incompatible, and if there were proteins against the donor HLA or tissue type, this pair would be a HLA incompatible. So what are the options if a pair is HLA incompatible or ABO incompatible? For an incompatible recipient with a medically approved living donor, and remember we said it was extremely important to have a healthy donor first, there are 3 options: kidney paired exchange, or desensitization, or a combination of the two. So let's talk kidney paired exchange first. Kidney paired exchange is where 2 or more incompatible donor-recipient pairs exchange kidneys, and all recipients benefit by receiving compatible transplants. So how does a kidney paired exchange work? Let's look at the example below. There are 2 pairs in this example. The top pair, where the donor is a blood type A, wanting to give to the recipient, however, the recipient is a blood type O, so this makes that top pair ABO incompatible. There is a second pair where the donor is a blood type O and is blood group compatible with the recipient blood type A, but unfortunately the recipient has antibodies to this donor antigen, so they have a positive cross match and they are HLA incompatible. So in this case, neither of them would be able to get a transplant or organ from the original donors, and no transplants would happen. But what if the 2 pairs exchange their donors? The donor from the first pair, who's a blood type A, can give to the recipient with a blood type A, and the donor with the blood type O in the second pair can give to the recipient in the first pair with the blood type O. And we go now from no transplants happening to both recipients receiving a kidney from 2 donors who donated in the honor of the original recipients and helped made 2 transplants possible. This is the spirit of kidney exchange. The simplest form of paired kidney exchange is a 2-way exchange where 2 incompatible pairs exchange kidneys. Multiple way exchanges include 3 or more pairs. There's also a concept of using a non-directed donor for a kidney paired exchange. A non-directed donor is one who does not have a specific person in mind, but they want to donate a kidney to help somebody. One of the ways a non-directed donor, an option available to them, is to start a chain, which means a non-directed donor in blue with a blood type B is giving to a recipient with blood type B. It could be any blood type for the non-directed donor. For the sake of this example, we named them a blood type B. They give a kidney to a recipient with blood type B, which now frees up the original donor for this recipient to give to another recipient, and so on and so forth. The other option for an incompatible pair is desensitization. Desensitization is a process that involves additional treatments for the person receiving the kidney around the time of transplants while they're still waiting to remove antibodies in the recipient that could be damaging to the donor organ, either due to blood incompatibility, blood type incompatibility, or tissue incompatibility. The goal of the desensitization process is to successfully remove or reduce the antibodies in the person receiving the organ to a low enough level that allows the donor organ to be placed in the recipient. So we encourage you to check in with your center if you are a recipient with a lot of antibodies to see if you would qualify for their desensitization program. Our hope with kidney paired exchange and desensitization is to convert an incompatible situation into a compatible one. However, there are certain pairs where achieving a compatible transplant may be a difficult end result, and in that situation, programs will oftentimes combine both kidney paired exchange and look for a less incompatible pair combination, apply desensitization, and still achieve the same result. We hope watching this video was useful to you, and on behalf of the Living Donor Community of Practice Education Subcommittee, we all wish you our very best in finding your way to a successful transplant ahead. We are here if you have more questions. Thank you again for watching, and we wish you the best.